Takes a second. Hey, everybody! Happy Wine Wednesday! How are you? How is your Wednesday? And how are your seahorses? I'm going to skip the big intro because I can see lots of people already joining. I already have Holly, Dan, and Ray with me. But just to let you guys... Yes, hello, Ray. Just to let you guys know, last week we had a few issues with YouTube cutting it off. They actually apologized and put it back up. They never did tell me what the issue was, but the reason it's not showing today in Seahorse Sources group is because we thought maybe it was going too many places. So we're gonna keep messing with it and try to reach you wherever we can. But also, final announcement on Kelly news here is that I had a fabulous 4th of July. I hope yours was also. Unfortunately, since I got home from my parents' cabin, my family's cabin, I've had a sore throat and cough. Yikes. So I'm getting tested, but I'm not feeling the best tonight. So if at some point I say, okay guys, I just gotta quit, don't be too mad at me, okay? All right, final announcement is that I saw in Seahorses Sources group that we are going to be doing a Seahorse and Pipefish virtual meetup at MACNA. So I wasn't even aware we were going to do it. Paul and I are apparently going to be doing it, so I will be sure to give you more info on that very soon. All right, now I'm going to shut up and welcome you guys. Hello. Is there anything before we get to chatting about sumps, because that's what I said the topic was tonight, is there anything that you guys need to talk about? Like Holly, any updates on your current situation, or Ray, anybody?
Oh, yeah, I used Dan's idea for the insulation on my tank. I went to Home Depot. I got one of those rolls of the like silver looking, almost like bubble wrap stuff
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
that you use for home insulation. And I put it around my tank. We're not in a heat wave right now, but it does seem to be keeping the temperature more level. So it hasn't got, real hot lately. It's staying within a good range now.
Very
Well, you
good.
can have the heat right here.
What'd you say, Ray?
She can have the heat I've got here.
Oh,
It's 37 Celsius out here right now.
ooh.
What is that in degrees? I'm not sure how that translates.
That is
It's warm.
degrees. What you mean is in Fahrenheit. Okay, take
Yes.
37, multiply it by 9/5, so roughly 63 and 32, 90, 95.
Okay, that's typical for my area. We're actually kind of cool for us right now. We're in the 80s. So we're okay. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, well,
I still don't see you on YouTube.
okay, I'll check. One sec. Let me open it here. I know somebody just super chatted, so I think we're there, but I will check. I do hear the echoing. Everybody, I should have made clear to everyone when you do join, try to turn all your TVs off and all that. And if you are watching the stream while you are in the stream, make sure to mute it. If you need further instruction, I can certainly help you. But I'm just stalling while I try to see what's going on with YouTube. Okay, so it's not on there at all, huh? All right. Let's see. I'm trying to open the dashboard. I'm running three
Well, I
different.
don't see it. I'm not saying it's not there.
Okay.
Last time I couldn't find it either.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go look myself, and let's see. It says sending data. It says it's streaming, so let me check if we are there. Your channel. Sorry, everybody. Just gotta make sure we're here. I'm not seeing it either. What the heck? I have no idea why it's not working. It says it's working. I don't know. I don't know, guys, but I will check it afterwards, and it'll just go up later, I suppose, because I don't know what else to do. It says it's going, and I don't know what else to say. But I'll email them again, message them again to find out why it's not working. And yeah, now it's saying sending data, but it's showing, yeah, it just says sending data as if it's not going through. So I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. I'll ask them what to do. And the other thing that I plan on doing from now on, was already working on it, but like I said, I wasn't feeling well, is that I'm going to start doing recaps that kind of shorten down all this chit chat we have and post the important parts later. So I will do that also. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have any idea how to even try to fix it. It just looks like it's not going through very well. But anyways, okay, so yeah, it just keeps saying sending data as if it's just not going through. So I will email them again, guys. I'm really sorry. And to the YouTube folks, if you see this later, again, I'm really sorry. We're trying to figure it out. Maybe something changed and I wasn't aware, but I will find out. Okay, so anyways, let's go ahead and have the discussion, and anyone can still join through the room. So we're still jamming. We're still good. All right, let's start off with Holly. Do you have a sump on your tank? I think you said you were going to add one, right?
Yeah, I have one already, but it's pretty small. It's a 10-gallon. I have a 60-gallon tank, roughly. It's 55, I think. And so I'm adding actually a 30-gallon sump with a big skimmer. I have a hang on back skimmer right now. So I want to be able to run a bigger skimmer, just more filtration.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, well, Dan, why do you advise people to add a sump to a tank? What are the main reasons?
Well, there's several reasons. First of all, it removes the clutter off the top of the tank, so it makes it more visually appealing. Secondly, it gives you a higher degree of flexibility in choosing equipment. Hang on the back equipment is somewhat limited in your selection, where in some stuff is almost unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
It reduces some of the noise because it's contained within the bottom of the tank. And then, of course, it also adds um, increased volume to the tank by depending upon how big of a sump you get.
Gotcha. All right. All the things I would name, especially the increased water volume, because that's a big thing. Um, Ray, do you have anything to add to that, or like what do you usually keep in a sump? What equipment do you like
Can
to put
add
in?
perfection.
Can't add to perfection. Well, what do you keep in your sumps? Like, what are the main sump setups that you typically do?
Well, my sumps aren't like other people. My sumps are just tanks. And well, the downstairs
My,
one, it's a 40-gallon one downstairs, and it has one divider in it. But any of the other sumps I have, they're just straight 20-gallon tanks, and the rock is in it, and it's uh, primarily to have the rock in it instead of in the Seahorse tank itself, and to add more volume to the system. And I can put the filter stock on it, and it helps clean out some of the larger crap. Um, so basically, the sump, I don't have a bunch of departments for apartments. What do you call them?
Compartments.
Sections
Yeah.
like yeah, sections like most people do. I don't personally see a need for it. Uh, the simple tank does what I want to do. It holds that rock. I can put that sock in there. I've got extra volume of water. Um, I don't need anything else because the separation
The
with all
bat.
those
The
various things,
the
I'm
bat.
not sure what it's going to add to a Seahorse tank.
Well, there's something to be said for the baffles. I don't know what it is, to be honest. So anybody in the comments, go ahead and pipe up and let us know what you think. But I think it has something to do with water flow, and I'm not very good at it. But I've done it both ways. I've done a sump just like what you're talking about, just to add extra filter media, and I've also done Well, I'll wait and talk about mine after. I think Dan was going to say something. Were you going to say something, Dan?
I was just I use a Bayer tank as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't use the fancy baffles and everything. I just take a 20 long, a 30 breeder, in some cases a 40 breeder, and use those as a sump. And just put my equipment in there and let it rip.
Yeah, I mean, you can do any. Like I said, I've done both. And what are the main pieces of equipment, Dan, that you tell people to put into a sump?
Well, I like a filter sock for one.
Hmm.
So if possible, I recommend that. Obviously, you're going to want your biological media. Um, I usually have a little bit more mechanical media, whether it's filter pads or a canister type filter to get more
If you need further
mechanical stuff.
instruction, I can
A
certainly
good
help you.
a, a good protein skimmer, and of course the return pump. Um, and that's pretty much all I put in them.
So just skimmer media and this filter stock. What micron? Is there anything you want to say about micron, like what you recommend and why?
Well, I like going as small as possible, but what I have found is anything less than 100 microns, it clogs up too fast.
Ah,
Um, I, I tried running 50 microns and they wouldn't last 24 hours before they would start overflowing. But I also prefer the mesh over the cloth type material because I can clean it easier and swap them out quick and easy. Um, and for cleaning them, I just soak them in a solution with peroxide and water,
oh
and
yeah. Huh.
that avoids the washing machine and other type of turbulence that tears them up. In fact, I got one of those Avalon Bay hand washers, and I put them in there and give it about 50 cranks, and just let it sit till I'm ready to use them.
That's really smart. I mean, I was using the washing machine, and you know, the significant other would be like, "That is absolutely disgusting." I don't, I understand it, but that's gross. And yeah,
You
it's
put a sock in the washing machine?
I did. That's how I always did it.
You know what works good? Try a salad spinner works good.
Ooh, what a good
I turn them
idea.
inside out and
Salad
throw them in
spinner.
water with bleach.
Yeah.
See, I won't use bleach because mine are nylon. That's why I use the peroxide.
Mine are
But
nylon too.
the Avalon Bay Eco Washer does a tremendous job at cleaning them up.
Well, that's awesome, and I like the salad spinner. That's
It
something I would
works.
never even think of. That's great. Well,
Works great for lingerie too.
hey, well, I'll be sure to not use my washing machine anymore. I'm like the putz over here, silly girl. Okay, so yeah, and if anybody like literally doesn't know, what we're even talking about when we say Sump, please feel free to comment. We can go through it. But I'll tell you this: in my Sumps, it really does depend on the system and what I'm trying to achieve. For instance, like on my reef sump, I've got the baffles and I've got compartments. And the reason that I really needed it that way for my reef tank is because I did a refugium. And you don't want your skimmer sitting in it, the order in which you put things matter. And I didn't want, that gunk getting into different areas. So yeah, so I had the baffled section with the refugium, the skimmer, and then of course the return area with the sock. And then on my biggest
Hold on
seahorse.
a sec there. I'll try to,
Oh,
okay. What, I made a move here and the damn volume come back on.
oh, okay. Anyways, so then on my biggest seahorse tank, Ronald Chinners, a very good friend of mine, who's been at MacNet with me a couple of years. Anyhow, he's a very good friend of mine. He actually made me an algae scrubber, and that tank is so efficient because of that algae scrubber. I think Dan's going to show us something. Let me know if you are, Dan. You turned your camera on.
No,
Oh.
no, I was moving.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Anyways, sorry about that.
yeah.
Anyway, in the big seahorse tank with the algae scrubber, I've got the return going directly into the scrubber because it was special made for me for this aquarium, and it works so efficiently. It's got two, and we can talk about a scrubber, in depth at a different time, but my personally made scrubber has two sides that are like diagonal, so the light comes in on them, and it drips down through a drip tray, and I can just remove one of those screens every week, say, and clean it off. That way, I'll always have another side with algae growing, and it just works really efficiently. And then I've got the skimmer. I tend to put a UV on my seahorse tanks. We can talk about that a little further. I think Dan and Ray possibly have different opinions on that, but I always use a UV sterilizer in there also. And then in my fry type tanks or in my grow out tanks, I use a lot of the like Marine Pure or Brightwell bricks, things like that. And I have the balls, I've got the bricks, I've got all that kind of filtration material in my sump. And then I kind of combined that, but in the fry tanks, then I use K1. And Dan, can you tell us a little bit about K1 and what it is, how it's used? Because I'm not very good at explaining it.
Well, K1 is simply a type of biological media,
Okay.
and it's designed to be a moving media, so it exfoliates old bacteria and allows new growth.
Hmm.
And because it's got a large amount of surface area, it does a small amount, handles a large biological load.
And isn't there a really good article, like basically an article showing your homemade deal with K1 Media in Seahorse Sources Group? Isn't there a file that shows it?
I don't know if there's a file that I have, but some of my videos, I've posted pictures of it before, and all I do is I take a carboy and I drill some holes about 3/4 of the way up, and I have the water coming in through the top. It hits the media, churns it, and then water comes out the side. It's a floating type media, and it really works almost like a fluidized filter. But the reason I like it better than a sand filter is the media is positively buoyant. So in the case of a power outage, it floats and it doesn't die quickly like most fluidized filters will.
Yeah, Dan is the one who actually turned me on to it, so that's why I always make him explain it. But I keep literally a bucket of this media churning cycled so that if anything ever goes wrong, I can start up a new tank almost instantly, or replace if something, just whatever. There's so many opportunities to make things easier on me. So I basically keep cycled media sitting there. I do that with rock too, but I really like the K1. It does seem to work a little bit more efficiently, in my opinion. Wanted to say, hey, Chris Carey, sorry we're having YouTube troubles again this week. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to message the Restream people too. And hey, Nicole. Nicole said she has a koi pond, wants to know if anyone else has one.
No, I've had goldfish in my pond, not koi.
Uh, I was going to say, go ahead,
Mine's
Ray.
got the gold in his too.
Did you
It's
say
too
you
expensive. Boy,
the koi are too expensive? Nicole, we still
yeah.
want to see it. If you posted a picture, feel free to say where it's posted, or jump in here or whatever, because we'd love to see it. Because I think those things are magical. My sister-in-law has a koi pond, like literally walking up to her house, and you literally walk over this beautiful pond of koi. It's really really awesome. So I bet yours is gorgeous too. Would love to see it. All right. Well, really quick, guys. Why don't you? What are your feelings about a UV sterilizer as part of the equipment for a Seahorse tank, or as equipment in a?
I'm an advocate if they're set up properly, but if they're not set up properly, they're to me a waste of money.
Okay. And what's the proper setup, or is it too hard to describe?
No, it's pretty simple. First of all, you've got to have an adequate power amount of power for the flow rate that's going through it.
Sure.
Secondly, it really needs to be filtered down to at least 1 micron before entering the UV, or you're going to have particles that are going to act like a shield, and a lot of bacteria is going to go through and not be touched.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Now a UV is good in that it will help keep down some of your algae, particularly if you've got any free floating algae. It will kill some of the bacteria, but it also can do some other things because of the UV hitting the water. Does some, I don't know how to explain it at a chemistry level, but it improves the water quality, just the UV hitting the water.
Yep. Literally, when I added the skimmer and the UV to my reef tank, the water got so clear, which I was doing other things too, microbubbling and, when I was cleaning it up using peroxide. But the water got so clear, so clean that I literally almost lost my anemone because it got burned. The light was hitting the water and going deeper because there wasn't all the gunk in the midst of the water. But hey, I saw Cheryl joined. Hello, Cheryl.
Hello, how are
How
you?
I'm great. Hey, real quick, just to catch you up, do you recommend or add a sump to your Seahorse tanks?
All my Seahorse tanks have sumps, and they're all, well, I've got one that's a 46-gallon sump, all the rest are 29-gallon sumps. And they make life so much easier because you can put your skimmer in there, your K1 media reactors, extra filter media, carbon, Purigen, whatever else you want to add, and it's all confined in the sump.
Yeah, I didn't actually. That's a great point. I kind of jumped over Ray's first original comment, and one of the main reasons that a lot of seahorse keepers want to use a sump is to have a more clean looking display. Like, whether you're for the natural look or the artificial look, a lot of people do like to use chains to color the seahorses up and etc. And they don't want all that rock in their tank because the seahorses tend to turn the color of the rock. So I have a couple smaller tanks with sumps on them with more rock in the sump for the main reason that you can have a really clean looking display and have it look exactly like you want. So really good point that I kind of jumped over earlier. And has anyone here ever, kept an aquarium without a sump? Do you think it's doable?
I think it's doable. I used to have a canister filter when I had a smaller nano tank,
Hmm.
but I like the sumps a lot better.
Sure.
I would never go back to canister filters. The sumps are so much easier to keep clean, and they house everything you need.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's definitely more room so you can have more equipment or whatever, just more water.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I skip
Biggest
over? Go ahead, Ray.
biggest thing for me against canisters, people like me that are lazy will end up killing seahorses
Oh,
because you can start off maybe in your first year, you're going to clean it out as often as you need to. But because the canister isn't easy to do a clean on it, I would tend to get lazy and start stretching it out. And then the water quality goes down. And next thing I know, I've got seahorse problems.
right.
So it's a no-no. But I learned that before I got the seahorses. I did that with uh, a couple small marine tanks that I had set up, and I knew I just got lazier and lazier, and they didn't need to get cleaned as often as a seahorse tank. But still, I knew from my experience there where I started slacking off that sooner or later I was going to lose seahorses.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
And I've still got it. I just don't use it.
I was gonna say, I mean, I definitely think that it can be done. I prefer sumps also, but I guess it's doable. What, Dan? Any thoughts? I mean, you have
I,
lots of customers that keep seahorses without a sump on the tank, right?
no, there's a lot of people that do. It certainly can be done. I just think that you can end up with easier time maintaining water quality with a sump.
Sure. I think
Yeah, canisters are a pain in the butt to take apart and clean, and yeah, they're just so difficult.
Well, and I know that Cheryl and I talked before. I can see you want to say something, Cheryl, but I know we talked before too about I've never found I didn't extensively research, so forgive me if there's a newer, better model out now. But at the time that I was doing my research, I couldn't find a skimmer that I really liked that was hang on back. I mean, there are some. I'm sure some work, but they just didn't work the way I wanted them to in most cases. I ended up using them, turning them into reactors like Cheryl. But what were you going to say, Cheryl?
Well, well, the only tank that I had that I really loved as a Seahorse tank with a canister was a 59-gallon tank with a Fluval
Hmm.
FX5, which is basically rated for 900 gallons.
Mhm.
And I mean, it was definitely overkill, but I did it constantly, and it was huge. But that's the problem, is it wouldn't fit under a stand.
Right.
Plus, you still had to, you actually had a spigot so you could hook it up to a hose and drain it outside to clean it, but it was still a major pain.
Gotcha. Well, speaking of major pain, Holly, if I'm saying this wrong, please forgive me, but I think that you either just recently added your sump or were working on adding a sump or something like that. So one of the
I got a new one,
oh, okay.
and I need to figure out how to hook it up because I have one under the tank already.
Mm-hmm.
With it's got a overflow box, that flows into that sump.
Yep.
But the new sump is not going to fit under my tank. It's too big to fit in the stand. It's going to have to be next to it. And fortunately, my husband's a Finnish carpenter. He has plenty of ingenuity. So we have to figure out how to switch from that smaller sump that's
Mm-hmm.
under the tank now to the new big and improved sump.
Well, I will tell you, Ray, if you're trying to show us something, make sure you tell me so I can make you big on the screen. But I'll tell you, Holly, I actually had to do that myself. With the sump that I explained earlier that has the algae scrubber in it, when I got it all set up, it was too big to go under the stand. And I had to set it beside the tank. So that actually, you just covered kind of my question. And that is to everyone here, if someone has never had a sump, is it that difficult or detailed to put one together? Because I've literally taken a tank that is not drilled, does not, it's not prepared for a sump, and as Holly mentioned, used an overflow box and just made it work. But is it
mine built in? I'm wondering, can I switch the plumbing from that already built-in box to the new one, or should I keep the old sump running and just add another sump? Like, what's going to be the easiest route is kind of what I'm trying to figure out, what I'm stuck on now.
That's a good question. I have a thought, but what, Dan, what were you going to say something?
No, I wasn't, but I still don't fully understand the setup. Holly, were you using an overflow box or is it a drilled tank?
No, it's a drilled tank. I guess I used the wrong term. There's a box built into it
Yes.
that has the drain in the bottom. So it's plumbed to the sump that I have under there right now, which is only, like I said, it's 10 gallon. It used to be a freshwater setup long ago.
Okay,
Well,
so basically, you don't have enough room to put
Exactly.
the sump that you want under it.
Yes.
I do have one tank that has a 46-gallon sump that's actually off to the side on a drilled tank, and it works extremely well. I did it because I was using that as a garage tank for seahorses, and I might have a very large number come in, ready to go into the tank at one time. So I needed a large sump, and I love it. It works great. It's not aesthetically pleasing, but it does the job.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. I'm not really as concerned about the aesthetics as how well it's going to function compared to
It's
the
it's
one
very easy to change. I mean, all you have to do in your particular setup is turn the pump off, and once the water stops flowing, the tank won't drain down. So you can pull the sump out, put the new one in, hook it all back up, put the pump back on, and away you go.
Well, she was, but she was saying it wouldn't fit. So I'm sorry, I was messing with something. So if I missed this comment, I apologize. But I think the main question she was asking is whether she should literally take the hosing and etc. and make it go to this other tank, or whether she should leave the 10-gallon sump under there and somehow, put a pump in and rig it to the next sump. Have two sumps, kind of. Was that your question?
The problem when you start rigging between a couple of sumps is there's always the possibility for a failure on one or the other and getting an overflow. So I'm very cautious about.
Are you talking about a shared
I have
sump?
friends that have had that happen, that built in multiple containers within a sump, and they've definitely had problems with them.
Are you talking about running two tanks off one sump?
No, what I'm talking about is my one tank, but having two sumps running from it. Not one sump to the next sump, but putting like another overflow.
Yeah, I would run one sump of the other.
Just one? Okay.
Yeah.
How do you have to figure out, like when I'm moving the hose and stuff, the flow rate
If you're
to?
using the same diameter hose, you should not see an appreciable difference unless
Okay,
you're running it long distance or multiple bit L's in it.
gotcha.
Um,
So I
but
need
if
to
you're
try
talking
to
the
keep it
difference,
smooth.
yeah, the difference of a couple of feet is not going to make any appreciable difference in your flow rate.
It's probably going to be. It's see right now it's going straight down into the sump. Through a hose, maybe a foot too long. It's going to be probably about 4 feet now, 4 to 5.
What do you know what size hose it is?
Off the top of my head, no, I can show you it like
You
that.
you should be fine.
Okay.
I was gonna say too, just thinking about her question. I'm so used to. I got turned on to adjustable pumps, which
Yeah,
I
I'm
know the
thinking of that.
host. What were you gonna say?
I'm thinking of that too. I'm looking at ones that are adjustable is what I want to do
I really
for
love,
that.
yeah, I love my adjustable pumps, and I'm sure that the hosing still does matter, and the length, as Dan was saying. But with my adjustable pumps, man, I can, if I see it's not working the way I want, I can adjust it. I can turn it up or
Yeah.
down, the flow, and if the seahorses can't take it, it's just worth the investment to me. And the ones I get always have the feed modes, and I like the feed mode, but. What do you guys have a preference in pumps or equipment or anything like that?
Kelly, that feed mode's supposed to be for the seahorses.
I know it. I know it. Dang it.
Hey, all my original 29-gallon tanks that I bought for Seahorses, and I have several of them, have all been retrofitted as sumps. Uh, Nothing. I I don't even know how many 29s I have that I've retrofitted with sumps anymore.
Oh yeah. Have any of you ever? Oh, go ahead, Dan.
In regards to the pumps, the DC variable speed pumps are really good. They've gotten better. They have almost no vibration to them. They're extremely quiet, and you can oversize the pump so that if you're in question of how much pump to put on there, you can buy a bigger pump and just dial it down.
Yeah.
And that way you don't run into the problem of buying a pump and going, oh man, I should have bought one size bigger, two size bigger, or whatever.
Right.
They're also extremely energy efficient. So all the way around, they make a lot of sense. I've been using the ones off of Amazon, the JBoa or however you pronounce it. They're
Yeah, I've
cheap
been
pumps.
looking on Amazon. What
Yeah,
brands are you looking
it's
at?
JEBOA. I have about a dozen of them that have been running for 3 or 4 years with
Okay.
only one pump that I had a problem with, and that's out of a dozen different pumps. And a lot of people trash them, but I found that they held up just as well. I got a $400 DC variable speed pump that I had to go send back for warranty work because it failed after a year.
Mm-hmm.
So in my eyes, for their purpose, I think that they're fine.
Okay.
Absolutely. So,
One
Ray keeps showing us the screen. Tell me if you're showing us something, Ray. What are you showing us, Ray?
Well, I'd mentioned that my son had one. I don't, but my son has one, and so I was just showing pictures of it off of his Facebook page.
Okay, hang on. Let me show you up. All right. You guys see that? Beautiful. And
Yeah.
this is the koi pond, or
No, it's a gold, but actually, it's probably more plants than anything.
well, it's beautiful. Very
That's
beautiful.
pretty. I have a pond too. I'm goldfish also.
That's
Now,
awesome.
the other thing about sumps,
Yes, please.
besides being able to put all your equipment in there and everything else, is it gives you extra water volume. So, like I
Yeah.
run 2 nursery tubs on a 29-gallon sump. So ultimately, I have almost 100 gallons of water
Mhm.
basically on a single nursery system. And everything fits under the stand. So I have very small, it has a very small footprint. And the thing is, too, on my nursery systems, I run 2 K1 media reactors in the sump, and I have room for that. I build my own sumps. I started doing that years ago. And so I have room for the skimmer, the K1 media reactors, filter socks, everything else. And just it makes my life so much easier.
Yeah, that's all. Have you ever had to drill a sump yourself? Like,
Have I ever had to grow what?
do you drill them? DRILL, drill them?
I do not drill my sumps.
Okay,
My tanks are all drilled. The
gotcha.
nurseries and everything else are all drilled. So they flow into the filter socks, which goes into basically a skimmer, and then goes into at least 1 or 2 K1 media reactors, and then from there it goes back into the tanks.
Well, I'll tell you what. When I post the recap, which I'm going to try to do quickly and post it like tonight or tomorrow at the latest, we should all post pictures of our sumps. Take a little picture and show so people can see what we were talking about, or
Okay.
even old ones. But
My sumps are double ugly. I don't try to make them look pretty. I just try to make them functional.
that's what
And
matters. I think that's the point to a sump, so you can have all the dirty stuff down there. My algae
yeah,
scrubber's not pretty at all, so. But all right, what questions have I not covered about sumps? Actually, before you guys step up or say whatever, who wants to? Because we kind of said it, but we didn't really explain it in detail. Who wants to cover why extra water volume is so good or important?
The solution to pollution is dilution.
Very
thank
good
you.
answer.
Seahorses are dirty.
Well, think about
There's
it. If you have a 58-gallon tank with a 29-gallon sump, you've just increased your total water volume by roughly 50%. What is that going to do in terms of maintaining stability in the tank? It's huge.
Yep. No, you're right. I just thought we'd cover it. And I'm kind of bummed because Sam, I know she messaged me the other day and she had gotten new laptop or something and she was going to try to join in tonight. So, Sam, when you see this later, we miss you. And I know that a couple of people joined Seahorse Sources group just to come to this. So, we're going to get the YouTube thing fixed by next week, I promise. But hopefully you guys are at least able to see it if you weren't able to get in and join in time. Just wanted to say that real quick. All right, Dan, you were going to say something. Sorry.
Yeah, the other thing I want to say about sumps is they don't have to be acrylic or glass. You
Okay.
don't have to have something that's see-through. I've used many of rubber and whatever type of poly material they are for different types of sumps. Especially if you look at commercial stuff, when they get bigger, they're they often use huge fiberglass tubs or
Right.
stock tanks, all kinds of different things. So, you don't have to have an aquarium or a custom built plexiglass unit to make a sump.
Sure. I think sometimes social media is our downfall because, people post their absolute best and prettiest. Like I'm not I don't usually post pictures when my tank's covered in cyano. You know what I'm saying? So the reason I'm saying all that is you see these tanks where it's literally like a display tank and the sump is prettier than the display tank and you're like, I must be doing this wrong. You're not. You're not. The sump is supposed to be for the equipment, the water volume, and if you're into algae the way I am, the scrubber or the refugium. But I just my sumps have never been pretty ever, and I don't care. They're good, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, a sump, it just basically it increases your total water volume and increases your stability on your tank, and it will increase your success rate with keeping and raising seahorses. Bottom line, it's a much better system. And you add to that a filter sock, so you can filter everything out basically. It it's a whole different world.
You know what we didn't say, and I know Dan, you explained it to me a long time ago, so we might as well throw it in here. What is the, you know, I'm trying to think of how to ask it to get the answer I want. Sorry. What is the reasoning behind the filter sock? Like, what's the point to the filter sock?
Well,
Rex detritus.
Cheryl
it's a
beat you.
it's a very simple way of
Hey,
collecting a
Dan, I'm
bunch
right
of the
there with
garbage.
you.
Sorry.
You know, I mean, if you can do almost the same thing with floss material, but the filter sock has the advantage that number one, you can control the size of the pores on it. It works like a bag, and it does a very good job of being a pre-filter, or in some cases, a primary mechanical filter.
Absolutely. I think when you explained it to me a long time ago, you explained how the equipment, or, the biological media handles one type of issue, and then the mechanical media handles the other. I can't remember the words. It's in the video I made with your help.
Well, it's
Yeah.
right. Well, I mean, you have to have both types of filtration, both
Yeah.
mechanical and biological.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, I
that's
say
right.
you should.
Yeah.
You should have.
Sure. Yeah. Anyways, I was just thinking back to that video, and it sounded great. I can't remember what I said now, but it was from you. So, anyways, okay, and yeah, again, just right when you're showing something, if you're showing it just to somebody, that's cool. But if you want me to make it big, I can. So you just got to tell me what's up, so I can make it big.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
I just figured you can see it there.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I think, is somebody playing with the chat in the room? I kept seeing something go across the top. Maybe not. All right. Anyways.
No, every time Ray signs on and signs off with sharing his screen, there's a message.
Oh, that's it. Okay. See, it's not small on my screen, but
What happened?
oh, nothing. No big deal. It was just
What was
telling.
that, Dan?
My
No,
biggest thing with filter socks is I wish they would make it down to a 50 or even a 10 micron level, and I'd be even happier. I mean,
They
I'd
do.
have to change them out a lot more rapidly.
Oh, boy.
They do make them.
I haven't been able to
You
find
just
anything
gotta-
under 100.
Every few hours, you gotta clean it
I
though.
yeah, I tried using 50s, and 50s wouldn't make 24 hours.
Yeah, he mentioned that earlier, saying that any that exactly that it takes you have to watch them so much more carefully before they overflow. But Cheryl, you say you'd like them. Do you just foresee having to do more switching, and that would be better for you, or what?
I just want to be able to filter down even smaller than what I've got right now.
Gotcha. Do you go ahead, Dan?
Well, I'll look up the place that I get them from. The downfall is you have to buy 25 of them, but they're relatively cheap. They're only about $4 a piece at that amount. And these are for the I don't know what you call them, the screen type, and not the cloth type.
Well, I know, Dan, you were using basically an external filter, a pleated filter for a long time on your nursery systems. Are you still doing that?
Well, a canister filter going back, all my tanks will have a 5 micron canister filter on the return.
Okay.
Really? Oh no, I know what you're talking
Yep.
about now. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, we're gonna have to post pictures, guys, because I should have told you guys to bring your pictures. I didn't think of it. I'm sorry. But
Well, I'll see if I can pull one up.
yeah, see if you can. That'd be awesome. Of course, you were the one that had trouble with screen sharing last time. So, but anyways, I'm kidding. I'm teasing. Okay. Oh, and someone else has joined. Hello, hello. Is that Sam? Who joined us? Okay, I can't see. Jules. Hello, Jules. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Do you have seahorses right now?
At the moment, I don't, but I did back up.
You said you don't right now, but you're trying to?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
You did get them? I'm sorry.
They were apparently wild caught. Didn't know it.
Oh gosh.
So,
Okay.
and so we've done a lot of research, and now we're waiting to get some. We're gonna order Melissa's Seahorse.
Okay, I think I heard that you had some. They were wild caught. I'm assuming since I heard you say that you were getting more that it didn't go well with the wild caught. Is that
Yeah, the ones I'm gonna get are Melissa's Seahorse.
Alyssa's Seahorse Savi is great. And just to let you folks know, we want everybody to come. So, if we have a little technical stuff because if we're on phones or just too many people are in here, too bad because we're having a good talk. All right. And so, but I'm sorry if I have to ask you again. It's just breaking up a little bit, appliances, you know
That's
how
fine.
it is. But so did you have anything you wanted to share about Sumps or any questions that you wanted to share, or you just joined in for fun?
I was just trying to.
Okay. All right. I think you said for fun to see what's up.
Yeah.
And it's no problem, if you join on a phone and we want you here, so we're good. If you have a question or comment and I'm not hearing you, wave at me because I can see you always. But all
Okay.
right. Okay, and we love when new people join. That's awesome. So, and I wish we could talk a little bit further too, because I'd love to hear more about your experience with the Wildcats. But I'm super glad that you're going with Alyssa's Seahorse Savvy. Have you decided? Are you getting just regular Erectus, or
Yeah, but
you know what? They're my favorite. They're really awesome. So, anyways, very very good.
I really.
Yeah, the beauty of erectus is they're very hardy
Yeah.
and they tend to do very well. And you have to watch them because if you get a male and a female, you're going to end up with a lot of fry.
Yeah, I don't want. I
She's saying she doesn't want fry. What can we suggest, guys, if you don't want fry?
think this,
Get two,
Don't give
get
me more.
all females or all males and cross your fingers. They don't decide to change sex.
Well, I'm gonna say really quickly too. I see Dan's getting ready to share his screen, so just tell me when, Dan, and I'll put you up big. But I was gonna say too. I know quite a few people seriously who just don't collect the fry. I mean, it's the truth.
Yes.
It's the truth. I've seen it. The seahorses, some will, some won't, but they'll eat the fry. You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
just, I just think that it's, if you're a breeder or you really have this compassion for seahorses, then that's a terrible thing to say out loud. But I see absolutely nothing wrong with folks who get seahorses and they're just not in the situation to care for fry, or it's not what they want to do. And it's kind of like the natural food chain kind of thing. It's not what we humans would do, but seahorses do, and it's their food. So sorry if that offended anybody, because I always collect them, but whatever. Did
No,
some?
my husband said the same thing.
I mean, you
Kelly.
don't want to. Well, you don't want to say it out loud. I mean, I would never, say do that. But I don't know. I'm just saying, don't feel too terrible,
Well, I
because
try to keep them, but I haven't been successful yet. So
yeah, and it's but yeah, when you're trying to keep
Kelly,
them.
it's
Well,
hard to be prepared.
I was gonna.
It's one of those things where some people are prepared and willing to raise fry, others are not.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you look at it from a wild perspective, roughly 1% of all fry born into the wild survive.
Very
So
true.
you're not doing damage to the seahorses. And I will not chastise anybody either way for the decisions that they make.
Wow, we got a party going on tonight. Okay, listen, guys, I'm going to say this really quick. Everybody, just if somebody does, hello and welcome to whomever just joined. If someone starts to talk, we all got to try to let them, because there's lots of noises going on with us all talking. Just wanted to say that real quick. Me especially. Shut up, Kelly. Right? I know. Sorry. Okay. I know, because I'm the one that overtalks everybody. I'm trying to zip it. I'm really trying. But welcome to whoever joined. If you want to, you can pipe up anytime. I won't put you on the spot. Sorry. But yeah,
Hello, Peter.
I did want to say to Holly that when I first decided that I was going to start keeping Fry, I absolutely, totally, completely screwed up the first time. Wasn't ready. Didn't have food. Lost him. Cried like a little baby. Okay, and then but what people told me and made me feel a lot better is that that's really typical. If you're not on the ball like Cheryl and Dan and Ray, and you don't absolutely know what's going on, then your first few times are going
Very
to be,
true.
yeah. And
It
so
lasted a week. Same thing. I didn't know he was going to have babies. He didn't look pregnant. All of a sudden, we had babies. I didn't have food.
yeah.
Now I'm raising the food. I have plenty of food, but no babies.
Isn't that how it
That's
always
good.
goes? Well, I was going to say too that with the first few batches too, if you have seahorses that are having their first batches, sometimes the male might be young or the female. There's just you just
That's
can't beat
it.
yourself up. So good job when you want to do it. That's awesome. And you'll get it. I'll tell you, for me, once you get prepared like you are now, keeping Fry isn't that difficult. It's the rear. It's the from the nursery to the rearing is when I have the weaning and all of that. That's tough on me. We need to do a breeding questions wine Wednesday, because Cheryl is great at explaining it, but it's hard to wean seahorses. So let me know how it goes for you. I get off topic.
Well, the thing is, when you're raising fry, most people wait too long to start presenting them with shaved mysis.
Hmm.
And the older they get, the harder headed they get. And the thing is, you have to be harder headed than they are. And it's one of those things. My very first success, which was years ago, raising fry, and uh, we had an ice storm, took out power to my house for over 13 hours,
Wow.
and all. I mean, this was my first real success,
Hmm.
and all my fry were laying on the bottom of the tank.
Oh,
I had tears running down my eyes.
Oh, yeah.
But with a stand, I put a heating pad underneath and gradually increased the temperature. And danged if all those little suckers didn't take off like gangbusters once they warmed up. I didn't lose any of them.
you're
Wow.
kidding. That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Wow.
I have to say for myself, I have a generator just for the tank because our power goes off frequently here.
Yeah, I have two generators. I have a
That's good.
gas-powered whole house generator, and I have a
Yeah,
small generator that I can just run tanks off of.
us too. Us too. Well, PG&E burned our whole town down. So,
Jeez.
Well, I mean, you should have seen me. I was a total basket case that morning when the
I
came
bet.
on.
You know what though? When you finally do succeed with some seahorses and raise them up, I'll tell you, my first successful batch, I literally only kept one seahorse alive, but it's little Cheryl, and she's still with me today, and it's an awesome feeling. I got better as I went, so keep trying
Hey,
if that's what you want to do.
the first Combs I ever raised to adulthood was born in 2008. She made it almost 18 years before not 18, 8 years before I finally lost her.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh, that's
And
awesome.
it was definitely an epiphany for me.
How are your combs now? Your the ones you have now?
Crossing my fingers, they're eating like piggies. Um, they they don't grow anywhere near as fast as erectus.
Right.
So I'm just waiting for them. One of the males has decided to blow up his pouch.
Mm.
So I will see how he does.
Sure. Well, I didn't mean to
And
put you on the spot. I was just wondering.
yeah, he's got a female that basically the two of them pretty much are always hitched to each other.
Okay, hang on. I
So
think. Sorry, Cheryl. Hang on one second because I think Dan's going to try to show us his sump. You want to talk us through it, Dan, or you just showing us?
Yeah, I'm just showing you. Actually, that's the sump right there. It's a 20-gallon long, I believe, in this picture. The blue jug is the water carboy that has the K1 columnist media in it. You can see the protein skimmer next to it. And to the side of that is a cheap colander, plastic colander from the dollar store that's on top of a little basket that has bio balls in it. And inside that basket is a filter sock. So I've got the filter sock hanging on the pipe going to the sump and then resting on the basket just so that it contains it nice and easily. And then from the sump, my pump, which is to the far on my left, it pumps out to the side, and to the side is my filter, and that's a 5-micron canister filter. It's similar to what you'd see in an RO system, except I'm using pleated filters. And that allows me to filter the water down to 5 mics lower if I want to, but if I do a 1 mic, it won't go 24 hours.
So
you're
Dan, are you still running the pleated filters on your tanks?
I'm sorry?
Are you still running the pleated filters on your tanks? Like you
Yes,
used?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still do.
and so you're doing the sock at the beginning, or you know, in the midst,
Yeah,
and then
the
the
water
pleater.
the water comes out of the tank into the colander on the far right side of the oops, my hand in the way.
Sorry.
The right side of the picture and through the filter sock. And then the skimmer's there. The pump, which is on the far other side of the tank, circulates the water. There's a Y on it, so part of the water recirculates back to the biological filter and the rest of it pumps back to the tank.
And then you're filtering it yet again. That's really cool. Wow, that's pretty cool. Better than mine.
And then you can see then fortunately in this picture I've got it at the right level. I've got a strip of tape there that tells me where I want my water level for the skimmer to work the most efficiently.
Hey Dan, are you still run? You used to run the SCA 302s?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the skimmer, right? Just telling for anybody watching.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's an SCA 302.
And I feel
Have to
terrible.
sign off for tonight, folks.
Okay, Ray, we're not going to
We'll
go much
see you
longer
again.
anyways. Thank you for coming.
Take care.
Bye. Yeah, we won't
Have
go
a good
much
one.
longer. But thank you.
Take care.
Yep. Thank you for sharing, Dan. Guys, I feel terrible that I can't ask everybody, you know, the comments for questions because of the fact that we're not even on YouTube. But Facebook, folks, if you have any quick questions, I promise next week I don't care, we'll be on YouTube again next week. I promise, one way or another. I'll figure this out. But I'm gonna check questions and yeah, I'll make sure to do a recap of this and put it on YouTube. Is there anything else you guys think that we need to discuss about sumps that hasn't been said? I appreciate you showing, Dan, because a lot of times we talk about these things and someone who hasn't done a sump, like when I first tried to do a sump, I was like, what? A return? What the, you know? So anything else you think we need to share?
Well, on each of mine, I'll pull up a picture here in a second.
Okay.
Every one of my systems has a individualized sump.
Okay, let me make you big, and while I'm making you big, I want to say again, anyone joining, welcome. And if you want to share anything or a question or anything, you just wave or
Hey,
holler
Dan.
out. Go ahead.
Dan, I got a question. Are you running UVs on any of your systems?
At the moment, no. I was starting to buy them before I started, winding things down. And I have one UV system that's on a system, but that system is not running. But each of those tanks has its own individual sump. And that particular setup with those tanks, because of the size, I was using 20-gallon sumps because of the way they fit. When I do my bigger tanks, like in this picture here, I'm running 30-gallon breeder tanks as the sumps.
Right, right.
And can you go back to the first picture? because I know all about the tubs. And guys, I am going to go visit Dan and get you guys an exclusive for anybody who has questions. You make sure to let me know. But on the tubs, are you just using, because typically people use hoses and drill tanks. Since you're using a tub, can you explain how you're pulling water and pushing water to and from the tub?
I can't make the picture really bigger the way I'm currently doing this, but
Just
in the very
basic.
center, in
Yeah.
the very center of the tub is a pipe.
Mhm.
So I drill a hole in the center, so all the water goes out of the center, and if you look on the edge, roughly, right here,
Mhm.
that's one of my return lines coming back to the tank,
Mhm.
and there's another one on the other side, and they create a nice slow spin, so the tank is circulating circularly, horizontally. It's spinning, and everything has a tendency to gravitate towards the center standpipe and then down into the sump.
Hey, Dan, are those your 90-gallon tanks?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Now I do have, some smaller tanks, but the reason I like those tanks was the population density. I could put a lot of seahorses in there. I don't know how well you can see, but
It's not coming up great, but you can see there's something in there. Those are seahorses, folks.
well, there's about 450 in that tank.
Wow. Amazing.
I've seen your videos on YouTube about raising the fry when you did some big convention or something, and
Yeah.
you had a slideshow of your
Yeah.
setup, how to do it. I actually learned a lot from watching those.
Yeah.
That was the MBI.
Really,
Yeah.
they're really good.
The MBI, yep. And actually, to be honest, too, Cheryl did a great video with me. I'll try to find it when we're done and attach it to the recap. Describing the tubs and her setup. So, because she had a very similar setup. So, I still haven't gotten all those videos done, but I did get the tub one done. So, I can link to that because Cheryl sat with me for hours making these really great videos. Kelly needs to get on it. But
Where do you guys find koi tubs? The koi show tubs that you talk about? Where do you get those?
One place you can get them is Aquatic Ecosystems, which is now Pentair Aquatic Ecosystems out of Apopka, Florida.
Okay.
The problem with ordering those is going to be the shipping.
That's what I'm thinking because I'm out in California and I haven't seen anything like that here.
Yeah, if you
The
look up
thing is-
goldfish or koi show bowl, there are some other companies that sell them.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to buy mine online, and the problem is that they aren't that terribly expensive, but because they're oversized, the shipping will.
Yeah. That's what I'm finding.
I found some stuff at just a local hardware store, like a specialty hardware store. They weren't the koi buckets, but they were pretty darn similar, and I made them work.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Come to think of it.
So, has anybody here ever had a sump leak?
Thank goodness, no.
Cheryl, you never have?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Have you ever had a sump leak?
Have I ever had a what?
A sump
Sump.
leak?
No.
Okay, well, you all lucky because I did. So I just want
I
to.
have.
Okay, wait for the person who has joined, and I see Lindsay. Is it Lindsay? Is that right?
Yes.
And your sump leaked?
Well, one time it was like a 10-gallon glass tank under there,
Uh-huh.
and I shattered it once.
Oh, jeez.
It was very fun.
Oh my gosh.
Nothing dramatic.
I had the same thing happen on my 90-gallon display. I was stupidly using a rubber tub. I was in this transition thing where, I said I'm going to set up a better sump, but this is just for now because I needed to put these seahorses, grow out seahorses in a bigger 90-gallon. And so I set up this tub type deal, and I kept saying, I'm going to replace it, and I didn't replace it. And the bottom wasn't perfectly straight, so you couldn't even tell. It wasn't like a big explosion or anything. It just, we started noticing water, and the water line, it was terrible, but anyway.
When it starts to trickle, jump on it.
Yeah. Lindsay, what did you do when your sump shattered?
I panicked for a while because it was right when I was setting up my fish tank for the first time, and I didn't exactly know what to do. Water went everywhere. It
Yes.
was really fun to clean up. But I ended up getting a bin that's for hydroponics. It's like 12 gallons, and it works really well. And I got some little alerts that beep if there's water under the floor now.
Nice, nice. Yes, awesome. I'm just curious, do you keep seahorses or are you looking at keeping?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
I do. I have two that I got from Dan, and then
Awesome.
I have a
Ryan.
handful of little pygmy
Okay.
seahorses that are in a breeder box that were given to me from a friend.
Nice, nice. Well, I'll say, guys, if you ever want to show, you can always turn your camera and show, but you don't have to. No worries. I hate when people tell me, "Oh, show your tank," and I'm like, the tank looks like crap. I'm not showing it right now. But anyways, anything that you wanted to add or ask or share about sumps or anything at all? Just want to make sure you get.
Not really. I was just coming to join you guys.
Well, we appreciate it. All right. Okay. Well, any what else? What else, guys? I'm kind of at a free for all now. Like I said, throat's hurting today. I did want to keep it short, but we've had so many people join. It's been awesome. So, anything else you guys think we need to chit chat about? And dead silence. All
I'm
right.
good.
Dan?
I'm good. I found out what I wanted to know.
I
Dan,
know.
send me some of your 90-gallon tanks, and I'll build a new room onto my house.
Well, I got a bunch of them that are available.
I'm not adding on a new room. I've already done one.
The problem with shipping them is that they have to go freight, so they got to go via semi to be delivered.
Yeah.
You know, the tanks themselves run about $300-400 new, but shipping is about almost $300 a tank too. So unless you're buying a bunch of them, you know, they'll fit inside each other, so it's not so bad. But you know,
Yeah.
ordering 1 or 2 tanks was a killer. Ordering a bunch of them, not as bad. But I used to go pick them up because I could go to Orlando to get them.
The big well, any of the tubs are expensive because of the shipping on them. That's the killer.
I
Yeah.
just saw in the comments that Nicole said that she didn't buy a tub. She bought a liner and created her own. I would love to see that. That's gotta be cool. Wow. She seems like the creative one in the bunch, y'all. I'm not very handy. Like when I first started with seahorses and people started saying, all right, you really want to get a sump for all this extra equipment and etc. Because my first seahorse tank, I'll admit, guys, didn't have one. It was 29 gallons, so I was already pushing that on size literally to begin with. I did only have one pair of seahorses. It was my macroalgae tank that everybody asks about all the time, and it had a lot of macros, which helped. But the bottom line is, I didn't know enough, and so I got to know the people we're talking to today, who explained the sump. But I just didn't have a clue. So if there are any questions afterwards, please comment and ask because I'd be happy. I don't want to bore everybody with the walkthrough, but or maybe we will do a video and show, like just explain the parts and stuff, just in case anybody cares, because you can do it to a tank that's not drilled. I don't personally think it's as efficient, but I'll tell you, the tank that leaked was the one that was drilled. All right, y'all. It was a beautiful SCA 90, big thick tank with beautiful, and it ended up leaking. It was the sump that leaked, not the tank, but still, you know. Mm. So, anyways, Dan's showing pictures. Let me get you up again.
Yeah, that's funny.
Are you riding a seahorse, Dan?
Sometimes we get serious about what we do.
Did you Photoshop that? Or did you find it?
That
didn't
was
hear it.
funny. That was funny.
Crazy, crazy. All right, guys. Well, anything else? I'm sorry to cut it short. I when the two newest joiners just joined recently, but I really feel terrible. So, was there anything
Well,
else you?
feel better. Speaking of that, I hope you get well soon and you don't have COVID.
I know. I've already called my health department. I'm getting tested tomorrow at 2 p.m. So we'll know
Hey.
apparently in 4 days. But fingers
Everybody
crossed.
stay COVID free.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Already been there. Don't worry about it anymore.
Yeah, you're good, Dan.
See, I thought I had two in February. But this could be just a cold, y'all. You know, or me running my mouth too much. It's really mainly a sore throat. But, anyways, okay. Well, I am gonna call it for the night. But we'll, I'm sure, talk about Sumps more in the future. And any suggestions for topics, just message me or comment on the post, and I will absolutely make sure we got it going on with YouTube next week. I promise. So. Everybody say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
All right. Happy Wine Wednesday, everybody. Cheers. All right. And
Yeah, I'm gonna log off.
yep. I'm
Yeah,
gonna close this out. All right, you guys. I will see you.